Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Three Men of Football. All right lads?
Thomas, Simon, how are we?
Hi boys, how are we doing?
All good. Enjoying the weekend. The football has been great so far. Loads to look forward to.
Well, great's an overused word. We've had football.
Yeah, definitely it's been weird, hasn't it?
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the Man United Tottenham game. I really enjoyed. I thought City played really well against Arsenal. I was very disappointed how poor Arsenal were, but overall, I've really enjoyed it. I've watched quite a lot of football, and Match of the Day last night was brilliant. Some epic goals. Yeah,
I did. I watched Match of the Day. I thought that was really good. I enjoyed the Man United Tottenham game. That's the only game I've really enjoyed. Wolves was okay because the goals were brilliant, but the only really good game I've seen so far is the United Tottenham game.
Yeah, I think you'll get better games now once that first game's out the way. I think most clubs will be on to the second game in the next couple of days, and I think you'll see an improvement in quality and in fitness as well.
Yeah, I hope so. But I mean, there's loads still to come. This week is absolutely chocker with games, and then we've got FA Cup next weekend, haven't we?
Yeah.
All right, so today is going to be a great episode. We've got Martin Ryman on, who is the manager of South Liverpool football team. Looking forward to talking to him. Really good lad, been around the game all of his life and around the South for I don't know how many years. We'll find out later. But we just wanted to kick off with some comments from the listener base, if you like. So the people who are generally giving us crap every day on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and others. So the first one is about the football forecast. So last week we started a little game where we predict the scores of 3 games a week. And we started with the first 2 games for Wednesday. And we've got loads of engagement with that, loads of people giving us their scores. And Ray Darby come up with the forfeit, which I think is brilliant. And we'd actually talked about this, but he said, I think the forfeit should be whoever loses has to wear the arch rival's shirt during the podcast. So mine and yours were perfect as me to wear an Everton shirt, you to wear a Birmingham shirt. Thomas's was to wear the Everton goalie shirt.
I mean, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm going to win anyway. But even if it did come bottom, there's no way I'm putting that kit on. Absolutely no chance.
We can get Southall put on the back, Thomas, if that helps.
Yeah, Leon would like that. Then we might be able to get him to catch up on the episodes. The other thing is as well, Thomas has been given a load of crap for bottling it. After Darren, you giving him crap on the last podcast about bottling it, about the Liverpool score, going 0-0.
Quite right as well. Quite right. And he gave all this excuse about how he doesn't bet against Liverpool. And I just thought it was he bottled it big time.
He did. He's getting a lot of crap on Facebook about that. So the next comment comes from Dean Booth, and it's referring to episode 16 where we had Claire Crowther on about women's football. He said, I'll admit I know very little of the women's game, which is sad really. The episode has opened my eyes to it and hopefully will make people like me take a bit more notice, which is great because that's exactly what we were trying to do. Hopefully people enjoyed it and we'll have a watch of the women's game. Daz, I know you love the game and watch it a lot.
Yeah, well, I try and watch as much as I can, when it's on the telly or locally. And I think if we're exposing those type of people to the game, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, so then the other thing, the best comments of the week so far has got to be Roy Keane watching the United Tottenham game about David De Gea. So when he was talking about the goal he conceded against Tottenham, he said he would be fighting in the dressing room at half-time and he would be throwing punches at the keeper. He also went on to say, I wouldn't let him on the bus afterwards, which was, I thought was brilliant because, I mean, to be fair, I don't really know what happened with that goal, but we talked about Roy Keane on the Greatest Pundits. That's exactly what we talked about. He doesn't care when he upsets anyone. He's going to tell you what he thinks.
So the big issue was the save. With his right hand, De Gea put it as a fist, and then the other had an open palm. And so when you go with a fist, it's got more chance of error. And what I found absolutely hysterical was Patrick Evra, who was with Roy Keane, said, tell them I'll give them a lift. I'm going back to Manchester.
Hey, Darren, when did you become a goalkeeper coach?
Oh, I've been one for years, mate. Yeah.
You know what he's like?
You've seen me play centre-half.
And isn't his name Patrice, not Patrick?
I know him as Patrick. I know him way back. Before he was French.
All right. So the last comment from this week is not really a comment. It's just us talking about one of our good friends from Facebook, Johnny Pollock. We've decided that Johnny Pollock is now the villain of the piece, and I think he's took up the mantle really well. So we were talking about the fact that we probably need to give him a bit of a name. So Daz has come up with an absolute cracker. Go on, Daz. What was it?
So we were thinking of villains in films over the years, and we know where a couple of villains in Batman movies and all these other type of Superman movies. We've come up with the Penguin.
Johnny the Penguin Pollock. Brilliant.
Oh, that's brilliant.
All right, so whenever he comments from now on, we'll talk about him as Johnny the Penguin Pollock, who is now our 3 Men in a Football supervillain.
I love that. Well in, Johnny.
I actually want him to change his Facebook name to include that, so everyone knows who the villain is.
I'm currently just watching Gotham as well, and the Penguin's got a big part in it.
He's a really good lad, gets involved loads. I love the fact that he's starting the conversations on Facebook, and his banter is spot on. He's Irish, which I think helps. So next up is the interview with Martin Ryman. So Martin, we know really well. I played for him a while ago, and now we all are involved in South Liverpool, where he is the manager. He's been involved with the club for loads of years. Genuinely good man, good football man, the type of person who, you know, when you're having a conversation about football, he's the type of person you want involved because he knows the game really well. You've both had experience with him. Give us your take, Daz.
Well, I've just been at South for about a year or two now, and knew who I was, knew people around me, knew my brother, which, let's be honest, is no surprise. But he welcomed you with open arms, and I think what the South have done very well is they spread the team to a club, and the community feel it now, and I think that's massively down to Martin and the committee. So, you know, the pitch we play on is fantastic. Everything's done for you every week. Great club, and we should be getting on to support these clubs.
Yeah. Thomas?
Brilliant. Since we've started this year, the support and just the guidance really coming from the top down is just spot on. You know, there's not an issue with anything. You get in touch with them, they're supporting you. You have a defeater on the phone the night, you know, the committee phone you, how did it go? Listen, you're going to be great next week. Just that, you know, the goals are put up before you turn up. Everything, just look after you so well. Honestly, it's a proper community. And if anyone's looking to play football, interested in coming down to watch, to play, definitely get in touch with South Liverpool. Quality setup, quality people, and they'd be welcome with open arms.
Yeah, well, let's get him on and let's have a conversation with him about his career, how he got involved in the South, and we'll see where the conversation takes us. Hello, Martin. Welcome to the podcast, mate. Great to have you on.
Morning, Simon. Morning, boys.
Morning, Martin. You okay?
Morning, Matt.
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Just telling us you've just done your 4-miler?
Just done me 4-miler this morning every day, yeah. I get out there, yeah. Keep the battle of the bulge going.
Keep the cobwebs off.
Yeah, that's it.
You're only doing that so you can show the lads up when you get back to training.
I tell you, I'll run with the best of them, believe me.
Always have, mate. All right, listen. Today, we just want to get a bit of your feel on football, a bit about the South. But I wanted to start off by embarrassing you a little bit. Oh. So I got your or the South stats from the website, and here's what's happened since 2001. So you started by winning the George Mann Cup in 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
And you won the County Prem in 2006-07. Yeah. Then the George Mann Cup 2008-09, and then the Zingari Cup 10-11. Then obviously the move on to the West Cheshire League. Won Division 3, 11-12, Division 2, 12-13, Division 1, 14-15, 15-16, 17-18, and then the Pike Cup in 15-16 and the Bill Waite Trophy 18-19, and then the Challenge Cup 15-16 and 16-17. I'll tell you what, mate, that's an impressive record.
We can just finish it now if you want the interview, Simon, because that's enough, isn't it? You know?
That's brilliant.
To be fair, Mark, it's all downhill from here.
I always say this, I'm just an average fella who, of a Friday night, gets a group of boys together to go and play a game of football on a Saturday. If we win, it puts a smile on my face. I've been a lucky man. You know, we've hit a purple patch since, it's not a patch, because I think since 2009, 11 years, we've won 11 trophies in 11 years.
Yeah.
You know, some people go all their career without winning one. So I've been a lucky man, Simon, I'll be honest.
It's impressive, mate. It really is impressive. I love the fact that you play it down, but it's an impressive run. You've had some great players during that time. But one of the things that is missing from that is how you got into it. So how did you tell us a bit about kind of growing up in Liverpool football, amateur football, and then how you ended up at the South? Because I know there's a bit of a story there as well.
Yeah, I was brought up with local amateur football. I think at the age of 9 or 10, I think I understood the non-league pyramid better than I understood professional football in a way, boringly enough. But I did. I understood where the county com was and the Northwest counties stood, and then the Northern Premier League, and then the conference. Some people don't get that even now, but I understood it very early on. And I was always around Holly Park, South Liverpool's old ground, as a kid for one reason or another. My dad was involved with the South. He was manager of the reserves when he was in the Northern Premier League. He had a couple of spells where I was always there, and to go on the changes was great as a 10-year-old. And just to get on the pitch was brilliant, you know. And then I played for South under 11s as a 10-year-old and won Players Player of the Year. So my affiliation with them goes back a hell of a long way. And then, I say, throughout the 80s, there was a connection. And then when South folded, they then reformed after a year. And I was lucky enough to be involved and I played in the first game when they reformed. Yeah, and here we are.
The rest is history, mate. I don't want to embarrass you, but you're 50 soon, aren't you?
I'm 50 next month, yeah.
So we get to the point where actually the South reforms and you started playing for them then, and then how many years did you play for them before you became manager?
8 years. It was 8 years of playing. I don't classify myself as a great player. I was an average player, probably below average maybe at times. I mean, I was good as a kid. I think as a kid I was better than I was. I peaked at 16 and it went downhill from there.
Yeah, we've all been there, Martin. We've all been there.
I did. And I played for them for 8 years. And I think there was a manager involved towards the end. He was involved for 2 years. And at the end of the second year, he resigned. And I wasn't playing a lot. I had a lot of problems in my private life. I had a job and my daughter was diagnosed diabetic and I bought a new house, blah, 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 blah. So I wasn't playing a lot then. And this manager resigned. And I remember Jimmy ringing me saying, he's resigned. Would you take over? Just to hold the fort for a bit. And I was 29, 30. And I went, wow, there's better players than me. You know, okay, well, if that's what you need me to do, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever. And then he reversed it and stayed. So I wasn't needed. And then we got to the pre-season, and if I remember rightly, he resigned again very late on in pre-season for whatever reason. So again, he came to me and just sort of said, would you hold the fort? Would you take it on board? We had a lot of experienced players at the time who were better than me, I'd say. But they wanted me to sort of keep them here because they were talking about leaving. And I didn't want to do it. I don't think at the time I was 30. Few problems at home, and bought a new run-down house and stuff, and ended up doing it. And here we are, 20 years later.
What year was that, mate?
2001. I remember having a really good pre-season, and you know, I remember having a great pre-season. I didn't want to do it, but I've done it, and I'm the sort of person, if I do something, I'll do it 120%.
Yeah.
So although I was tentative at first, I took it on board, I've done it. And you think you're going to rule the world. You're 30 years of age. You think, I'll be at Real Madrid in 2 years. I'm going to rule the world. I'm going to rule this, but I'm going to play from the back, and I'm going to do all this. And pre-season went great. Fixtures come out. First game of the season, Waterloo Dock at home. The best team in Liverpool. You know, still are known as one of the best teams in Liverpool. Got slammed 6-2. So I'm at home going, right, okay, don't think I'm the right man for the job here. I really don't. So it was a rude awakening first game.
Yeah. It's funny, Martin. Now, what league was that in?
That was Liverpool County Com.
Yeah,
in them days, Waterloo Dock were a real tough side. They were top draw. The Doms were a great side. The Alleys were just coming to the fore. They won the league that year. It was a very, very strong league.
Martin, was Royal Seaforth in it then at the time as well?
When we won our first trophy, we beat Royal Seaforth in the final.
Yeah.
So it was a tough game. And it's like, you know, I remember getting whacked in the first game. We had a good pre-season, bring you back down to earth. But Waterloo Dock at that time could beat anyone 6-2. They were top draw. And then I think I steadied the ship, if I remember rightly. A couple of draws, a couple of wins, a loss, a win, a draw. And I steadied it a little bit. And then I remember 2 games on the run We got beat 5 2x4s and 6 2x Lucas. And I remember thinking, that's it. I'm not the right man for the job. And I think I said something in the dressing room about, I'm going to go home and have a little think about things. And I did, and I was down, and I was thinking, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. What are you doing? You might be 10 or 12 games in. And I had a phone call that night of a guy called Jimmy Mulville, who sadly passed away just before Christmas. He was a very good friend of mine and the best player I've ever played with. And he was playing for me. Embarrassingly enough, he was playing for me. He was a great player. He was a pro at Liverpool, for God's sake. And he rang me that night. He was a good friend of mine. And he just said, don't you be thinking of spewing it. You're doing all the right things. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep saying what you're saying. Know for the fact the lads are behind you, you're not spewing it. And it didn't. And we changed things around a little bit with the formation, and we got a bit more solid. And we got to 2 finals at the end of my first season. We got beat by the Allies in one, which was no disgrace because they were the top side. We got beat 1-0 after extra time. And we won the other one. And I was mentioning this to Simon yesterday. When we won the other final, I was on my own. I found myself on my own, as managers do sometimes, because no one likes you, do they? So I was on my own, and Jimmy ran over to me. Jimmy Mulville ran over to me, God bless him, and just grabbed me. And he was a few years older than me, Jimmy, and I had so much respect for him. And he went, I told you not to spew it, didn't I? This is brilliant. Just a weekend. And it's a brilliant story, something that I'll always remember. And unfortunately, God bless him, he passed away just before Christmas.
Yeah.
At any time, Martin, did you play while you were managing? Or was it just strictly managing once you got to that point?
Well, I was 30, so I should have been a player manager, but I was unfit. I went on a sub once. I think that's in my 20 years I've been on a sub once, so no, I didn't.
Oh, not like me then, because I've got a bit of a roving role for our team. I'm always on.
Yeah, no, I think my playing career was very disappointing, if I'm honest. If I'm honest, I was an average player. I played for the South, and I had a little spell at Prescott and Newton and Willows in the Northwest counties, and I was at Tranmere as a kid, I was at Chester as a kid, and I had a couple of bad injuries, but no, it was very disappointing. Sometimes I think it's why I'm so determined as a manager, because my playing career was a little bit disappointing. So.
Well, if your playing career was average, mine must be absolutely dire.
That's an impressive group of teams.
Yeah, the difference is, Martin, Thomas still thinks he can play out, and he keeps putting himself in.
What do you mean, Dan?
Remember he fell over for that diving header in that charity game. Brilliant.
Martin, can I ask you a question about how your management style, and how is it different from when you first started to what it is now, knowing that you've just finished playing, you're playing with your mates? Because I know I'd find that difficult. Playing with your mates and then having to manage them at the beginning. And how has it changed your management style?
I'm certainly a lot more relaxed now, because when you do something for 20 years, it becomes second nature, doesn't it? So when I say I'm a bit more relaxed, things just roll off your tongue now, I suppose. And Jimmy Stanway always has a little laugh and says, well, I've heard your team talk for 20 years now, it hasn't bloody changed.
Brilliant impression.
And that's what he says all the time. I remember my first team talk. I do. And a friend of mine, Alan Burns, he was a good friend of mine. He was playing for me. I get embarrassed by that, really, at the time. It was weird. And he said he was sitting there nervous. He was really nervous for me. He was going, please get this right. Just because he was a friend of mine. And I don't know whether I did get it right. I can't. Well, obviously I didn't, because we got beat 6-2 by walking back. I think a lot of them were my friends, and I think they were nervous for me. So as my managerial style changed, it probably has. I'm a lot more confident now. Giving a rollicking out was probably a little bit new to me at the time, and they were my friends as well. Giving a rollicking out now is just second nature to me. So I think it changes with the style of players. You've got to know how he ticks and how he ticks. I had a player who played for me, and you couldn't bollock him. If you bollocked him, he'd answer back, and his game would go. And I learned it very quickly. So in a diverse way, what I used to do, he was a winger. But so in a diverse way, what I used to do at half time, he was like going down blind alleys and getting nothing out of it. So if I told him that at half time, he'd answer me back, and I'd get nothing out of him. So what I used to do is pick on the other winger, who I knew could take a bollocking. So I'd go, and you're going down blind alleys, there's got to be end products. And then I'd look at him and go, and you as well.
Yeah.
It was just a way of how I, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without something. So you learn as you go down, and you know, as I say, I'm a lucky
Well,
man.
one of the first things that I struggled with, Martin, and had sleepless nights over, was we took over. Well, I was involved in a team that was a group of friends that had formed to just have a laugh and go and play footy together. But when I took over and was manager, I was having sleepless nights of having to drop people. And they weren't working in the team, and I was having to take them out. How did you cope with that starting off? And then obviously now that you're so experienced, you've been doing it for 20 odd years. Do you still have issues where you wake up thinking, I've got to drop this player tomorrow?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. It's the hardest thing in football. I'm sure every manager will tell you at any level of football. I think I've got to South 16 finals in 20 years. You know, so I'm not saying we've won them all, by the way, but I've got finals, you know, so we haven't won them all. I mean, in my first 4 years, we got to 5 finals, you know. So when you get to these finals, there's always decisions to make if you've got a good squad, and it doesn't get any easier, no, not at all. And in big games, people know it's a big game, it's a big ding-donger in the league. Martin's got to go with his best team here, Martin's got to go with his best team. And when they're not in it, they obviously think, well, I'm not part of his best team, am I? So it's very, very difficult. And at the start, it was very, very difficult, especially when a lot of them lads, when I took over, were slightly older than me. It was Jimmy Moore, I've spoken about. It was Alan Burns, Peter Renner, Stephen Ward, the best goalkeeper in the world, Keith Jones. There was some great players, all better than me, or slightly older, and it was hard. And I let Keith Jones out of the final, and he was one of the best strikers in Liverpool, but he was just aging at the time.
I remember playing against South Liverpool, and I've still got an elbow off Keith Jones in my left eye.
Quality footballer, though.
Yeah, he was. But no, it's still very hard leaving players out now. Even now, that is the hardest part of managing. I'm sure every manager will tell you, and you mull things over and you speak to your assistants. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who makes the decision. You know, you think about the opposition, you think how they're going to play. You know they're going to play a diamond. Well, I don't want to play with 2 wingers. I want to try and tuck in a little bit. So sometimes that comes into play nowadays.
Do you feel like your senior players are watching you as well, Matt? Because I know that I've been on the other side of this as well, and when you're coming up to a big game, and Daz, you'll have had this as well, you're looking at the manager thinking, you're going to pick your best side, aren't you? You're not going to put that person in. You keep giving a go, and they're just not doing it. You're going to pick your best side. And you're almost sat there thinking, I hope you make the right decision here. But do you think like your more experienced players are looking to you and saying, okay, I know that when it comes to the big games, he's going to be able to make the difficult decisions? Yeah,
definitely. And I think it's not just picking a side that are difficult decisions. In today's modern football, I think when I first started, I think most teams played 4-4-2. There's a couple of teams play 3-5-2. I reverted to that. But now sometimes you go, God, I know these play a diamond. I know these play one in front of the defence and one in the little pocket. And sometimes players are looking to you at the side to make the right decisions tactically as well nowadays. You get tuck in there, or go across there, go man for man. Do you want me to go with them or not? They're shouting to you. And they're looking to you for guidance in that. So you've always got to make snap decisions as a manager.
I think that one, the diamond in the middle, is probably one of the best ways of illustrating that point. Because if you don't adapt to that system, then you get overrun, especially against decent teams. In fact, we've had it last year. We had it against the Brit a couple of times, and they stacked the midfield, but they don't only stack the midfield; they've got quality throughout the team. And when you've got players that are that good in the middle of the park, they're literally just playing triangles around you. So then if you don't adapt to the system, then things go wrong very quickly. And at your level, at the level you're playing at, you're playing against young, fit, quality footballers all the time. So you've got to respond quickly, haven't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. And they'll do a look, and I'll say to you again, you'll have a centre mid going, there's 3 in here, what do you want us to do? And you've got to make a snap decision, you know, do you stick to your guns? I play 4-4-2, I want me 2 wingers to get at the fullbacks, but there's an extra man in there and he's killing us. Listen, every manager will tell you the same thing. It's nothing special. You've got to make a decision. You know, I do a certain. My players are drilled now. They know what to do. I said, right, this is what we do when there's an extra man in there. They know what to do.
Just on that, Mon, do you get frustrated when some players aren't tactically aware and are very much selfish in their own play?
Yeah, you get that all the time. I think, again, it's just down to managing individuals, isn't it? You know what I mean? You get selfish people in every walks of life. Yeah, you know, some players are selfish. You know, they want to do what they want to do. They don't want to listen to what you want to say. If someone's like that, generally, even if he's got great ability, he won't last long with me.
Yeah. I think that that's clear by the way you run the team as well.
That's not me being big-headed. Far from it. But if he's not prepared to listen, you don't win leagues overplaying and totally footballing sides off the park. You win leagues, the ingredients of it, and all the great sides have done it at our level for the last 20 years and beyond. I made my debut in the county com when I was 15 for the Cheshire Lions against Speke, or they were called Dunlops then. And since then, I've never seen a side dominate and play total football, pass, and win leagues. The ingredients of it: hard work, commitment, effort, work rate.
It's getting those basics right, Martin, isn't it? And then you can build on those basics.
Without a doubt. I say to my lads every week, you need a tick against your name. You're all great players, otherwise you wouldn't be in the dressing room. You need a tick against your name. And if you get 11 lads getting that tick, and I call a tick a 7 out of 10. So tick, 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 tick. If you're lucky, you might have a couple of lads who ventured into the 8s. And if you've got one lad with a 9 out of 10 that game, you'll win the game.
And I know you love your...
Right.
I know you love your...
Right, you get a tick against your name.
Yeah, you love your stats as well, don't you? You have someone who actually keeps the stats for the games, don't you?
Yeah, we've got a statistician at South. Yeah. He likes to throw a stat out now and again.
Martin, yeah. I've been a 4 out of 10 most of my career. What would I get next to my name?
I would play alongside you, darling, because I would be in the same.
Yeah. You've got a really good setup. And one of the things that we wanted to ask you about was how this year has gone. So we'll come to the end of the year and the farce that's happened at the end of the year in a bit. But how did the chunk of the year go where you played? How did you feel the team did this year? Because you had a big target on this year, didn't you? Well,
yeah. I think as soon as we put it out there that we were applying for the North West Counties, and we'd done that very early on in the season, you're there to be shot at then, I think. So we had certain shouts of, who do you think you are and stuff like that. I think South Liverpool have had that since day one, really, because of the history. So as soon as we put it out there, we were under pressure a little bit. How did the season go? We were unbeaten, Simon, 8 points clear at the top of the league. Second place, we were unbeaten as well, to be fair. The team was second place, were unbeaten. And, they had a couple of games in hand, so it could have been very close. We were quite confident that we would have won it, as you are. So how did it go? I could pick holes in some results. We shouldn't have drew there and we shouldn't have drew there, but it went really well. I think I've got a great group of players. The mix of the age is brilliant. There's some younger lads, some mid-20s and some of the older lads, and the mix and the attitude is first class. I'm going back to what you said then about dropping people and attitudes. That was brilliant this year. It was absolutely top drawer this year. People got it. And one thing I always do as a manager, I will always pull a sub and explain why he's not inside. And especially if he was in the game before. Sorry, not in because of this, because of that. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't, but I always do it, So how did the season go? Yeah, we were unbeaten, Simon. So we were in the Pike Cup final as well. So, do you think that you've got to the stage where you can manage that confidently and have that kind of group of lads because of what you did with changing the South team into the South as a club and as a kind of stalwart for Liverpool amateur football? Because I know that you worked really hard on that when you first came in. It was a big thing that you had a vision that you wanted to implement, and then you've worked towards it. Is that a result of doing all that work? Well, without being over professional about it, when I first took over South with a team, we never had reserves. We didn't have a youth set up. We had no veterans team. We didn't have a ladies team. We were just one team. And I was a little bit reluctant to take over, but once I got my head around it, I did. And South Liverpool are the biggest name in Liverpool, as far as I'm concerned, because of the non-league history that we've got. So I wanted to make them massive. And I think the first thing you've got to do is get the first team right. You can't just say, right, let's create a second team, let's create a third team, and let's create this. You'd have to concentrate on the first team. And the first 7 years, from 2001 to 2008, I think we won 2 trophies, got to 5 finals, and we put ourselves on the map a touch. After a couple of years, we did create a second team, so all of a sudden, we're not a team, we're a club. We've got 2 sides. Yeah. Got a connection with the youth team as well. So again, we've become a club, not a team. When I took over, we were just a team. So yeah, I did. I wanted South domination at the end of the day, and it took a while to sort of touch it. And we're in a purple patch at the moment. But yeah, that was the vision, Simon. Yeah, without a doubt.
Well, Jim, sorry, Martin.
You don't call him Jimmy.
I had Jimmy on my mind then for some reason, what he said to me yesterday. we've come in this year as your over 35s team.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying this because we've got you on the podcast, but the welcome and the support we've had, it took me back. I didn't know how to accept it. And I was thinking, this can't be right. Everyone's bending over backwards to help us. And I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, the support we've had has been superb. And when you talk about clubs and trying to build and grow for the future, it's support like that that makes you grow and become better. And you enjoy it more because even when things don't go right, you've got that support there and the backup from the committee getting in touch with you and saying, listen, it wasn't your day-to-day, but, you know, next week, you know, we're going to be better. And it's just been superb. So when you're talking about our club, I'd like to say, you know, we're new. I know Simon's been involved with the South over the years, but me coming in this first year, it's been superb. And I can only just thank you and the rest of the committee.
It's a great compliment. And, you know, I work quite closely with Jimmy, and we say we'd like every team that we create, if you like, or comes on board, we try and keep the same standards that the first team have, as much as we can.
Yeah.
Very hard because you need that many people doing that many things that you probably haven't got enough people to do it. But we try and create that standard for the over 35s, the over 40s, the under 21s, the second team, the first team. Obviously, the first team standards will be more top drawer than others because the first team, you've got to look after them more. But that's what we try and do. I'm glad you said that, Thomas.
Yeah, it's lovely, honestly.
So the just to add to that, me and Martin had a conversation yesterday, and I'll say again what I said to you yesterday, Martin. Me and Darren have been involved in the Zavs for years, and I love that club. And we had some great times there, and we were involved in the first league win after 100 years, and there was some real history there. But I agree with Thomas, the welcome that we've had at South, and I knew the South well. Obviously, I'd been with you before, Martin, so I knew how you worked, so I knew what to expect. But it's been amazing. And not only that, everyone knows the South. So, you know, for years, people had asked me who I played for, and I'd tell them. And unless you were involved in amateur football, you had no idea who the Zavs were.
Yeah.
You talk about South Liverpool, and even if you talk about South Liverpool outside of the city, people know it. People understand because there is a history there. And I think you're right, it is the non-league days, but it gives you a basis to work from. Is that a basis that helps you bring in some of these quality players that you've brought into the first team?
Yeah, I think South have got a decent name. You know, it does go back to the non-league Jimmy Case, John Aldridge days. You know, it's the two people that people talk about all the time. I think we're known as having a good setup. I think we're known as doing things the right way. One thing I've always said as a manager, no one will leave my club and slag South Liverpool off. So if a player storms off, because I've substituted him, and he throws his shirt on the floor, he will get a phone call the next day. Won't get done on Saturday night because his emotions will be too high. But he'll get a phone call on the Sunday or the Monday, and I'll sort it out with him. Because I don't want, and if he leaves the club, I'll say, no problem, if you need anything, let me know. And I don't like anyone leaving South Liverpool with a bad word.
Martin, just on that, you know, obviously, you know, I've played against the South many times over my, I want to say illustrious career, but I'd be lying.
Illustrious career.
but what's important, you set very high standards for everyone involved in the club. Is it difficult bringing people on board at the club who have your same high standards? You know, we've mentioned Jimmy a couple of times here. His role at the club, the committee at the club, and when you're bringing on youth and under 21 teams and the reserve teams, you've got like Billy Birch involved now and other people involved. What's the process of getting those people and people who you think highly of who could do a job for us out involved?
Well, from first team obviously comes first, and I've been a very, very lucky man. In my first year, I had a guy called Brian Williams who assisted me, who I knew, and he assisted me for 2 years. Brilliant guy. Got to South Liverpool, knew the standards, no problem with Brian, he was brilliant. Kenny Deacon then came on board, he was with us for a long, long time. Again, a South Liverpool man, had played for South, knew the standards, knew what we were all about. So he didn't need telling, you know. Now I've got Stephen Ward alongside me with David Kringle. Again, two players who have played for South. They understand how we do things. They understand the standards. So there was no explaining into that, really. We understood it and we got it. Second team-wise, again, we've sort of kept it in-house a lot. I mean, Peter Renner was the first manager for the second team. South Liverpool legend, had played many, many games for South Liverpool. He got it. Eric Dawson was manager of the second team after that. Again, he got it. So them two sides that are working quite close together, it just fell into place. the 21s and the vets, it is very hard to, to try and keep the standards as high as you try and get with all them clubs. It's out of your hands a little bit. We can't be there telling them all the stuff. All we can do is we generally have a little meeting with them, explain what we're all about. Obviously, they know anyway, sort of thing. And we harp on our discipline and what we expect, etc., etc. And you keep an eye on stuff, that's all. And hope they fall into the South way.
Yeah, I think that's worked really well for us.
Yeah, I think you've almost took that boot room model, if you like, that Liverpool had and brought people in from the South.
More of the Everton thing, Darren, I'll be honest. More of a Colin Harvey thing, Darren, come on.
I didn't mention which boot room. But you're right, though. I think that means you're bringing football people in who understand you as a person and as a manager and understand what South's all about. And I think that's massively important from going from that team to a club.
Yeah. Well, also watching Martin on the line is like you couldn't. Once you've been around the South first team for one game, you know how it's going to go every game. I mean, you've seen him like a jack in the box.
Yeah, Martin runs more on the line than I do in a game.
We didn't have a game on a Saturday. I come down and watched you, Martin, and I was asking, "Where's the manager?" And you'd come round like behind the goal. You were still watching the game, then you'd run back somewhere else, and I'm thinking, "What's he doing? Where's he?"
Well, I've done my bit in the changing room. You see, I've given me instructions out. I've named the side. They've had the little rollick, and if you don't do it, you'll hear my voice. And then David and Stephen, that's their domain on the line nowadays. I try and take a little back step on the line, and then to do it a touch. It works really well.
Well, I mean, the results speak for themselves, mate. You're doing the right things, and I also think that a lot of managers don't do that as well. So a lot of managers, it's different for you as well. You've been in the game, you've played. You call yourself an average player. I wouldn't say that. You've played at a decent standard. You get it. Some managers have never really played at a decent standard. They get involved in football late, and you're having conversations with them, and you it's a very different type of conversation. You know what you want from minute one. You know what you're looking for from the players. You know what you're looking for from everyone around the club, and that's clear to everyone. It's also clear that you understand the tactical elements of the game. You mentioned earlier you blew past it, changing the formation at South. And from our conversation yesterday, you attribute that to some of your greatest success, don't you? Because that's a big decision to make when you played 4-4-2 forever.
Yeah, not greatest success, but in my first year, played 4-4-2, thought I could football people off the park, 30 years of age. I mean, when I think of some of the lads who were playing for me, who were 30 years of age, and you think, could they take over the South? Now you go, not quite sure. So I don't know what I was doing, actually. I don't know why I got asked, but anyway, and got to a certain point with 2 bad defeats. I told you, Ford and Lucas and I decided to change it 3-5-2. But the pivotal thing in that was I signed a guy called Eric Dawson. Crawford's folded. And I was after a few of the Crawford's lads, but they all went to Speak. And that made Speak a much better side, and they went on to great success, a great side. But I got Eric, and this is old school now, Simon, knocked at his door to sign him. Knocked at his door. No mobile phones in them days, 20 years ago. I knew where he lived, because I had a spell where I lived in Anfield, right by Liverpool ground, unfortunately. And I knew Eric only lived down the road, and it was knock on his door. And he wasn't there, and spoke to his son, got his landline number. And funny enough, I remember him telling me, Billy Bates is trying to sign me for Old Zabs.
Wow, all right.
So I said, don't sign for him. He's a complete and utter arsehole.
You're right.
So, no, and Eric made the decision. He said, no, South. And again, Simon, something that you spoke about then, I think Eric said, no, South. And I knew Eric, because I played for Crawfords with him as a kid. So I knew I'd played a couple of years with Eric as well. No, I'll come and sign for you. And I wanted Eric to play. And when I signed him, I thought he might have been, I was 30, 31 at the time. I thought he might have been about 34. And when he signed on, found out he was 36, 37. And I didn't know. And I thought, wow, he's a bit older than what I thought. And I played against him the season before, and he was outstanding, absolutely outstanding for Crawfords. And he played in this role just in front of the back four. And they played the back three, and he played just in front. And I thought, I'm going to change it to that. Got to go to a back three, get Eric in with 2 lads in front of him. And that's what we did. And we went on a great run. And because of that change, because we signed Eric, and it didn't feel as if he had the legs to do 4-4-2. So it was pivotal in wanting to play Eric, and we went on. won a cup in my first year. You know.
They're the big decisions that you'd have to make. But so we're now down the road, and you've been there forever, and you're a South Liverpool
I had a great
legend.
set of hair when I first started.
It's all gone now, mate.
It cost me a fortune in hair gel when I first started.
Well, speaking about your hair falling out, so this year the season comes to an abrupt end. It's null and void. What does that mean for the South? Because as you said early on in the year, you applied for North West Counties, made it very clear your intentions. So what was the impact on the team? I know there was a load of work going on in the background to try and get past it, but what kind of impact does that have?
Everything that you can think of, Simon, in a way. You know, disappointed, frustrated. When we put it out there that we wanted to get South back into the semi-pro circuit, non-league, Northwest Counties. We were under pressure I think we had to finish in the top 5. That was the criteria. I know that sounds dead easy, or finish in the top 5, but it's not. You don't know who's strengthened. You know, you're trying to bring in new players as well, and we had an okay start to the season. But to get null and void and be unbeaten and be in the Pike Cup final as well, we had a chance of 2 trophies, another 2 trophies. So it doesn't matter how many you've won, Simon, you want the next one and the next one and the next one. So the lads were disappointed, really disappointed. They felt as if there was a chance. You don't get a chance to win a double very often, do you? No. You know, and it was there for us. So the impact on the players was you know, they really frustrated and disappointed. The impact for the club, we've done certain things to the ground. We got a covered accommodation in. We've now got a converted container with seats in. We've made the dressing rooms bigger because that's one of the criteria of going into the next league. Spent money on it, and then all of a sudden it's null and void. But it is what it is. What can we do? We've just got to go again. No point crying over it, is there?
No. So Martin, is that sort of dream over for another year? Is it, or is it something that might happen over the next couple of months and decisions need to be made?
From what I know, and I don't get involved in the politics of it all, Darren, but from what I know, we're a West Cheshire League club. We're hoping that the Pike Cup will get played pre-season, but behind the scenes, if there's any movement within the non-league pyramid, team might fold, or a team might want natural relegation because they don't want to be at that level no more. There's a theory that the lockdown may sort of fold some teams anyway financially. Now, I don't know whether that's happened or it's going to happen, but if there is a bit of movement, we've made sure we're ready to take the opportunity. So if someone comes knocking down, the ground's ready. And
on that, Martin, then, you know, the cost implications for South, you know, and they've got a great setup at Jericho Lane and the new hub. And what's the cost implications? Because if you go up, are you looking to then having to pay players, or, you know, get some sort of expenses for some players? What's the cost? Because you've come from the County Com, the West Cheshire, where people play for free, or I mean, I don't know if they pay subs anymore, I don't know. But that cost implication for you moving up, is it going to be massive for the South, or is it something that you've already looked into?
No, something I think we've already looked into it, really. I mean, see, what we saw a few teams around us, around the area, moving up. And we seen Liverpool.
Yeah.
Moved from the County Com to North West County, brilliant, did what they had to do. It's got a very, very, very good side. Respect them totally. But we've seen them do it, brilliant. We've seen Rylands do it from the Cheshire League into the North West Counties with a bit of backing, but they've done it, fantastic. Pilkinson's from the Cheshire League into the North. And we're sort of looking, going, if they can do it, now that we've moved to this new 4G hub, we can do it. You know, and Vauxhall's dropped out of the non-league pyramid back into the West Cheshire League. And the season they went up, we won the league and they were second, you know, and they've gone back into the pyramid. So, the implications of it all financially, if we are away to Penrith of a Wednesday night, the other side of the lakes, we are going to be expecting to at least give the players some expenses, you know, but we haven't really got to the nitty-gritty of all that, I'll be honest. We haven't really got to the nitty-gritty. I think if the season hadn't been null and void and we would have won the league and we would have gone to the North West Counties naturally, league finishes, we would have had a bit of time to sort all that out and say, right, you know, what are we going to do with that? But there's certainly scope for doing something like that, definitely.
And does that mean then it's about getting the right sponsors involved? I know you've got really good support around the club in terms of sponsorship, but obviously always looking for more.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, listen, it's hard out there, isn't it? You know, there's a feeling that if you do go to the Northwest counties and you do get the right sort of fixtures and you're charging people to come in, you're going to generate money, Simon.
Yeah.
You know, your home games, I think you'll still only be paying the officials and the referee, as we always do, and we're getting people in as well, hopefully. So yeah, the implications financially, yeah, we are going to put our hands in the pocket, but we're not stupid. We know what we're doing, you know. So you know, there is that financial implication there, yeah.
I think there's a lot of work that needs doing around the non-league game, especially in the environment that the South are in, making that transition to try and get more local people to come to that level of football as well, because the football that's played, I think is outstanding. You watch the teams in the lower divisions, like, you know, the Championship, first and second division, and there's some decent football there. I think you're seeing football as good as that on a Saturday at the South. It's different. It feels different, but it's great to go and support a local club. I've been to a couple of the first team games, and I don't know a lot of the players anymore. There's a couple that I know who are a bit older, but the younger lads, you don't know them. But the football is outstanding, and the quality, the fitness is great. And you've got to think that if you make that next step up, that's only going to get better, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you're going to attract better players. You know, I think you've got to. What we're lucky at in a way is we started in the West Cheshire League and we had a team that won the third division. So we replaned then for the players that were good enough to win the second division. And we had a team then that was good enough to do that. And then when we got to the first division, you needed better players. And that's how it's worked in a way, a natural progression and replanning players who were good enough. And it might be that when we go up, you know, you might attract better players. You might find out that some players you thought were good enough aren't good enough at that standard. But I certainly had full confidence. We weren't going into it with our eyes open. We've been successful at the West Cheshire League, but we weren't expecting to be successful in the Northwest counties. All I keep saying is we were going in there to compete. And if we could compete, fine, find our feet and go from there, basically.
Yeah. So, okay. So, talking about competing, one of the things that we're asking people when they come on the podcast is, what is your greatest football moment? Now, you're a Blue, so we've had a couple of Blues on before, and the chat has been relatively interesting about not having much to celebrate since '95.
Yeah,
but so wide open, can be playing, managing, watching, can be Everton, can be the South. What's been your greatest football moments? Give us a couple.
Greatest football moments. It can't be anything ever. I mean, I was lucky enough to be around that purple patch when Everton, you know, from 83 to 89.
Yeah.
Purple patch. That was great. That was brilliant. You know, it's got to be South. If someone said to me, who do you want to win the league, South or Everton, I'd say South all day long. That makes me a sado, then I'm a sado.
To be fair though, Martin, that's more realistic, isn't it?
Very true. Very true. So, my greatest football moments, winning my first cup was brilliant. It was in my first season. You know, some managers are still chasing it after 5, 6, 7 years, and it was great to get that out of the way. It was brilliant. To win the George Mann Cup in 2009 at Goodison Park was fantastic for me. At Goodison Park, my little lad was the mascot. It was fantastic. But I've got to say, my greatest football moment was when we won the treble, 2016.
What a
year.
year.
We won the league the year before with only losing one game and only conceding 18 goals in 30 league games. Wow. And we were expected to do it again the next year. And we started off that season losing the first 3 and drawing 1. I had lads injured, suspended, and people were going, wow, what's happened to the South? And then we went on this big mad run, absolutely amazing run. Gets to the end of the season, we win the league, and then we've got 2 finals to look forward to. And there was muted celebrations because there was a mad vibe of, we've got to do this treble. We've got to do it. We've got a chance of doing it. We may not get another chance again. You don't get to finals very often. And we had a muted celebration, won the Challenge Cup then the Wednesday. And then we went on to the next cup the Wednesday after, and we were all booked for Benidorm the next morning, 7 o'clock. Honestly. So we win the cup Wednesday night, and then we celebrated. It was like winning the league and winning the first cup, muted. We knew we had to win that. And even if we didn't win that treble, I think we would have been disappointed. I really do. The lads' vibe was unbelievable. And that day we won the treble, there was a couple of lads there who were suspended for the final. There was a couple of lads who were injured, and everyone at the club was fantastic. It was ecstatic. And as I say, the next morning, we met in the airport at 5:30 and we all went to Benidorm for 4 days. Oh my God.
Wow.
The best 4 days of my life. And we celebrated then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We kept the celebration on hold for that. And luckily for us, we won the 2 finals. You know?
Martin, did all the players come back from Benidorm, or they're still...
They're still there. A couple are still there.
So talking about players, Martin, which is the best player you've played against or managed against in your career?
Best player I ever played against?
Yeah, or managed.
There's some crackers. I know you think about some of those, you talked about the Waterloo Dock days. I mean, some of the teams that they've had, or players they've had, have been ridiculous.
I mean, Leighton McGibbon up front for Waterloo Dock, he was just a different class.
He's definitely mine.
Just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Leighton really, you can't say impressed you every game he played. He was just supersonic, wasn't he? He was fantastic. So he was probably one of the best I've seen play with. There's Jimmy Mulvey, who I mentioned, who passed away, was fantastic. He was a great player. Stephen Ward, who was my assistant, best goalie in Liverpool. He was where...
He was brilliant. Outstanding goalkeeper.
Unbelievable. I was lucky enough to do a bit of training with Southport when I was 16-ish. And we used to train on Hague Avenue. And in the team then, they had someone called Paul Lodge. He used to play for Evan. I think he played for Wigan as well. And they had a lad called Tony Quinn, who had been a pro at Wigan. And believe me, to train them with them as a 16-year-old was fantastic. I still remember it now. I mean, they were sort of decent pros, but with all due respect to them, they weren't top draw pros. Lodgy played for Everton's first team, for God's sake, but you know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah.
And these were brilliant. To train with them was absolutely fantastic.
But let's go back to Leighton McGibbon, because I think he's an interesting point. I think personally, in terms of playing against, I played against him. I was playing centre mid and he was playing centre forward. I've also played centre half when he was playing centre forward. And I've got to be honest, I had an absolute torrid time, because he's one of those players that can do everything. He's good on the ball. He's good bizarrely for his size. He's good in the air as well, because he just puts his body in. You can't get the ball off him. Once he's got it, his feet are so fast. But he was an absolute menace. I literally couldn't get hold of him. I was trying to kick him, hold him. I was hugging him at times, but absolutely outstanding footballer. Now, he's had an amazing amateur career. And you hear a lot of kind of the Liverpool pros, if you like, talking about if you look at a player who should have made it, it should have been him. Why do you think people like him, who are that good, don't make that next step up? Do you think it's just it's about where you are, being in the right place at the right time? It's attitude. It's the fact that you're like a bevy or whatever it is, because you've had some great players along your years as well.
I don't know Leighton. I don't know Leighton at all. Only from when he's played against us and absolutely killed us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's horrible.
I think he's killed everyone, if I'm honest. He's a top draw player, and he's had a flirtation with the pro game, hasn't he? Yeah. So I'm not quite sure why that didn't work out. I don't know if some of it is attitude. I've got players now who enjoy the level of professionalism or organisation that we have at South, but don't want the next level of professionalism. Yeah. So they enjoy the standard that we play at. They enjoy the level of professionalism we've got. Some people come in and want to rule the world. And what I get right, I think, is that level of professional. I know what lads at this level will put up with. I know what they'll put up with and I know what they won't put up with. And some managers come in and say, I want you there an hour and a half before the game. And it's £1 in the jar if you're late. And that's all, beyond our level. Yeah. And some people come in thinking they can do that. And maybe they can, but, it's just about what a player will accept and what they want, isn't it?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a lifestyle choice as well, isn't it? I think lads are quite happy doing what they can, maybe getting a few quid at whatever club they play for. And that next step up takes them out the lifestyle they're going to have, because sometimes you lose touch then with other people around you as you go higher up the game.
I think that's probably right with Leighton as well, because he seems to really love the game. And we've all played with people who have turned pro. I've not played with any or against anyone that has been better than he is at playing football. So then you think he had all the ability in the world and probably had chances, but it's got to be a choice, hasn't it? It's got to be, do you really want to push on and get in there, or do you like your lifestyle? Do you like the fact that you get a bit of money from who you're playing for? He played with his mates all of his life. He always seems to enjoy the game, but that's probably because he's scoring 3 or 4 goals every game as well.
It is. It's hard, isn't it? And I'm talking about myself again. I can remember being at Chester when I was 16 and I was racing It was the best period of my life, playing-wise. I was playing really, really well. And I got a bit of an injury, didn't play for months. And then you're talking about lifestyle, 16, 17, going out, enjoy the bevy, blah, blah, blah. It's happened to millions and millions of kids. And you don't get it back. Get it back.
Yeah.
Lifestyle plays a lot in it, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that a bit on here, and you know, we have all had chances. We all know people who have had chances, and you look back when you're in your 40s and think, why didn't I, or why didn't I work harder at it? But it's just the reality of life, isn't it?
It is. My lad, great player, and he's just packed in now at 15. Doesn't want to play no more.
See, I hate that, Martin, and I think as well the pressure that's on kids, and that's a different podcast that I speak on. The pressure that's on kids at the moment to almost be a success by time they're 14 or 15 and be at a Premier League club and getting signed is massive. And I think we need to look at this because we're going to lose, like your lad and other lads, really good players at a young age. I mean, I'm still hoping Gareth Southgate comes to Jericho Lane. I don't know if he comes over Saturday.
He's asking for your number.
Who's that Al fella?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Definitely, it's. I think lads get to a certain age. They're a good player. I mean, my Josh would say it. He's a Berry, you know that. He's at Wigan. I'm better than him when he was like 10 or 11 or 12. Why aren't I? You know, and there's a bit of a pressure there to get to academies and all this sort of stuff. And in a way, when it doesn't happen at a certain age, they're falling off now and starting playing very, very early. You know?
Yeah, there's so much more to do for people of that age now, isn't there? Well, listen, the South is a great opportunity for players like that who maybe haven't made it, have got loads of ability, want to get involved with a great club. The South is a great club. We're lucky enough to be involved in it. You've been involved in it for God knows,
millions of years, Simon. Millions of years.
It's a great club. We love it. We're really enjoying it. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. We really appreciate it. We'll definitely have you back on in the future as well when we get into the Northwest counties and you go on and win that one as well, mate. So thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Oh, top man, I enjoyed it. Very, very kind. Thanks very much.
Cheers Martin. Thanks, mate.
Take
you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, that was a great interview. Really enjoyed talking to Martin. He could literally talk all day, couldn't he?
Oh, unbelievable. I've got work Monday. I was just hoping he'd get off.
To be honest, he's absolutely quality. Some of the stories, I just wish for a little bit of the success that he's had over the years. Thank him for coming on. Quality guy, quality club. And I hope every success going forward. And hopefully they get that promotion that they thoroughly deserve.
I think for me, it'd be great if he put together with other lads for the South, like a book of all the stories, triumphs that's happened over the years. But the big question, of course, lads, is who would play Martin Ryman in the film?
We'll have to think of that one and get that up on Facebook. Who's it going to be?
Of course.
Okay, so you know we've done a relatively long podcast here, and what will be happening is that when people are listening to it, they'll be giving us crap because they'll be waiting for us to get to the bit that they tune in for, which apparently, from what people tell me, is the Thomas Morris Wall of Hate. So people seem to be loving it on Facebook, Thomas. So give them what they want. Who are you mostly hating this week?
Okay, so this week I'm mostly hating a World Cup winner and a German legend. This player was once known for his skill, his flair, balance and technical ability. He's best now known for getting a game in an absolutely mediocre Arsenal side. He was the most expensive German player of all time. This week, I'm mostly hating Mesut Ozil.
Oh yeah, good one.
Mesut Ozil has been voted a record 5-time German Player of the Year. He was known for being an assist expert, often breaking records at the clubs that he played for. The only assists he gets these days is assisting the kitman, putting the tops up before the game. In his early days at Schalke, he claimed £1.5 million. Wasn't enough for a year's work. Cheeky get. When he worked it out, after how many games he played that year, it turned out to be getting £1.5 million per game. He only ever turns up for one game. So during the 2009-2010 season in Germany, he was declared the best player in the first half of the season. I've never heard that before because apparently he didn't turn up for the second half. So He then went on to sign for Real Madrid, and in his first season, he made 25 assists. You know, and some of those assists were actually on the pitch to his teammates. He went from being a star in Germany to a squad player at Real Madrid, and was often taken off the pitch with white hankies being waved at him. He then turned into the bottler that we all know at Arsenal when he spat his dummy out and asked for a move because he didn't want to fight for his place over Luka Modric. Now, Ozil's always reminded me of someone, but I couldn't quite get my head around it. It comes to me the day. He reminds me of the Count out of Sesame Street. One and ha ha ha. In 2013, he signed for Arsenal for 42.5 million. Now, I don't know who his agent is, but if he's free, can he come and do my next mortgage? Arsene Wenger signed him and probably got the best out of him early on in the first couple of seasons, and he got a couple of FA Cup wins to his name. But then things started to go bad for him, and he was dropped on a regular basis. Unai Emery came in and just decided, you know, he wasn't his type of player. Now, he didn't play him. Now, all this while he earned a staggering £300,000 a week. £300,000 a week.
Wow.
And half the time, he's not making the bench. So, Arteta's in charge now, and he's not playing him. And let me remind you, he's won £300,000 a week. I just can't believe it. So, but the main reason I hate him is last year, there was a really serious incident involving him and his teammate, Kolasinac. You know, and they were chatting outside Ozil's G-Wagon, and they were sat there having a chat when all of a sudden 2 men wearing helmets tried to rob them at knife point. So Kolasinac, being a hero, bit of an hard knock, he starts taking them on. So he starts, you know, the fella's got a knife sticking it at him, and he starts throwing punches and stuff, trying to back him off. So the fella steps back after Kolasinac is having a go at him. Ozil only slams the door and winds the window up and leaves him out, his teammates out on the street, getting chased by a fella with a knife and another fella chasing him. You absolute shithouse. I just couldn't believe it. You know, he's in a G-Wagon. Why didn't he drive at them in his Jeep? Why didn't he do something? You don't leave your mate on the streets, you absolute weapon. So for that, you're going on my wall of hate.
Love it. Well done.
Love it. A couple of things I want to point out there. I'm glad you got white hankies out.
He almost said wankies.
Yeah.
Close.
And also, I'm not sure what a G-Wagon is, but I presume it's some sort of vehicle.
Yeah, it's a big Mercedes Jeep. Very expensive.
Yeah. So the other thing about him is, one of the things that's happening at Arsenal now is the better players are looking at Ozil and thinking, hang on a minute, 300,000 a week. So when they come to negotiate new contracts, people like Aubameyang are going to be pushing for, I want 300,000 a week. Or why would you sign another contract when he's on 300 and he's not even sitting on the bench?
I'm not going to lie, that's a sinking ship there at Anfield, isn't it? Bloody Arsenal. He's.
I'll tell you what, Thomas, that's a fraudulent slip.
I know.
We'll cut that out.
You better add, yeah.
That'll go on a video on its own.
At Arsenal, you know, Aubameyang, he's definitely going to go.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's no way he's hanging around at that team because, I mean, they just look absolutely useless the first couple of games back as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think players like Ozil can bankrupt clubs. I think, you know, if they're not going to play, like Sanchez did at United, with a ridiculous amount of money, get him out, ship him out, start again.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, thanks, Tom. That was brilliant. All right, Daz, let's get to the quiz type question.
Well done, Simon. Well done. You've been practicing now. So here we go. So to who am I? His professional football debut was against the City, where he grew up, in a testimonial match. He played for 2 different clubs from the same city. In 2004, he returned to his hometown team and helped them to promotion from League One. He appeared 23 times for his country and scored 4 goals. And here's a great one. He is one of only 9 players who have scored Premier League goals for 6 different teams. And Thomas, if you say I've got it, I'm going to be annoyed.
I've got it. I know who it is.
It might be the first time he's actually got it. He looked very confident after point 2. All right, I like that one. All right,
I'll put it up on the Facebook over the next couple of days.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a good one. They're getting some good interaction as well. People making guesses at them. Let's get that up. All right, Daz, give us your final thought before we wrap up.
Final thought is it's great to have a local amateur football guy on, Martin Ryman, who's been around for 20 years at South Liverpool and probably will be around much more longer. I think he's one of those guys who he gives everything to a club, and you know, those guys are few and far between these days. And a huge kudos for doing that, Martin. So thanks a lot for that.
Thomas?
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm just going to talk about Martin and some of... Martin was brilliant coming on today. And one thing we forgot to mention was about unsung heroes at the South. The likes of Jimmy Stanway, Billy Birch, the committee, all the people that put the work in behind the scenes. You know, someone makes a programme for the first team games. There's sons that go on there. They don't get a lot of, pats on the back. So I just want to shout out to them. You know, brilliant club. If anyone's interested in watching, come down, support them. If anyone wants to play, you know, get in touch. Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Yeah, it's a good point. And there's people like that all around the city. It's one of the things I love about Liverpool amateur football is that there are people, those unsung heroes at every single club. When you turn up and the kit's there and the goals are up and the nets are out, someone's done that. Someone's worked hard to get that done. And it's either the manager, the committee, or people that are just around who want to get involved in local amateur football. I love that. One of the main reasons why I love amateur football. Okay, so before we wrap up, a couple of things. Firstly, download the podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, loads of different podcast platforms. If it's not there on your favorite platform, let us know. We'll get it up. And then also give us feedback on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all going really well. Great interaction from everyone involved. And also go and look at the website, www.threemeninfootball.com. We've got the blogs up there. We've got all the latest videos. As soon as we launch a video, we put it up on the website. So it's a great place to visit. And we'll keep you in the loop on what's going on with the Three Men of Football, ecosystem.
Well, we're taking over the world, Simon. One podcast at a time.
All right. So I really enjoyed that. It was a great conversation with Martin. We'll definitely get him back on in the future as well. Try and work out whether they make the step up to the Northwest Counties. It'd be great to see. And can't wait to get back to football. All right. Thanks, lads.
See you, boys. Take care.
See you later.